Hey, good morning. Today we're going to talk about getting pulled over in my GT3 RS. I figure it would be fitting to record this video inside the car and take you guys over to where I got pulled over and show you the scene of the crime, if you want to call it that. Anyway, I'm going to let the car warm up and then we'll just jump right into it. Alright guys, I've got you kind of hooked around the seat because my, I don't know if you can see on the lens here, but my GoPro mount for my windshield is actually kind of taken apart right now, and the part that I need to strap you guys in up there is at my office. So I've got a tripod that has like the, I don't know what you call them, like octopus arms on the bottom that can wrap, and you guys are wrapped around the seat. I hope it's a decent experience. Gonna release the parking brake. We've got the motor warmed up enough. I'm gonna make a little pit stop here at the gas station on the way. But I think one of the things I wanted to mention right off the bat before I talk about my ticket, or my citation, or whatever you want to call it, was that I just put a video out yesterday about the Lexus RCF Track Edition, and in my opinion, how overpriced it is. Or specifically, my video says that it sucks, the title of the video. And I had someone reply to that with like an essay about all sorts of things that I guess he disagreed with me on. And I want to say, I don't remember your username, but I do appreciate your interaction, and I did appreciate the time that you put into writing all of that stuff, and I actually agreed with a lot of the things that you said. In particular, you said that the Z06, the C7 Z06 is faster on the track than the Nissan GTR, and you were right. Well, you were right that it's faster in most, it looks like in most situations with professional drivers. Yes, it has put up some better lap times on the majority of the tracks, which is great, and I appreciate you correcting me on that. But I will say that those were with professional drivers, and I do think that with an average amateur driver just going to the track, that you would put up significantly better numbers with a Nissan GTR than you would with a Z06, mainly because the power on the Z06 is a lot harder to control. It has a lot more power than the GTR, that's for sure. And it's harder to control, and on top of that, it's rear-wheel drive. So this is coming from someone that's owned a Z06. I think they're amazing cars, and I've also owned a GTR, and a GTR is like totally a hand-holding experience, which is why a lot of people don't like GTRs, because they do just hold your hand. You can even get a C7 Z06 with a manual transmission, so there's a ton of reasons why to go with the Z06. So I appreciate you defending it. I think it's a great car to be defended. I still like the GTR a little bit better, just personal preference, but thank you for you know, putting in your 2 cents. I really like that. I'm gonna pull into the gas station here and then come right back, and we'll talk about the pullover incident. All right, we're fueled up, and you guys ever get annoyed that when you're pumping your gas that it flows faster if you actually hold it with your hand all the way to the top versus using like the little lever that holds it in place? I know it's like that's the only way it will work, but I feel like someone could invent something that would do full flow 24/7, you know what I mean? Anyway, first world problems, right? It doesn't really matter. So let's talk about the pullover incident as we approach the intersection that it happened at. So I was driving home from work last Friday, and I would say I was in I don't know, a mood, not a bad mood, but like maybe more of a good mood. It's like the end of the week went pretty well. I was kind of excited to go home. My wife had been out of town all week, so I'd been watching the kids by myself, and she was gonna be home, so not only did I get to see her, but I had a little bit of a break, you know, to relax a little bit more. And And so I was driving a little bit fast. And the roads that I'm going on here on the way to work are pretty fun. There's some amazing high-speed turns where like the speed limit's actually pretty high, so you can get some good driving in a car like this. So I was doing my thing and approaching the next stoplight it's the stoplight after this next one. I was approaching that stoplight, driving too fast, I would say, in general. And as I approached that stoplight, the light turned yellow, and then it was about to turn red. And usually I go straight through that intersection to go to my house, but I saw that I had a window where I could still make it through the intersection before the light turned red, and I could turn the corner, and I could drift the crap out of the turn, you know, just like fishtail like crazy. I had some good momentum going into the turn, and it just looked like a lot of fun. And to my eyes, I didn't see any cops. I'm really good at looking around. That's why I never get pulled over. And this guy was hiding on a side road. So this is the stoplight that I'm coming up to right here in Carlsbad. It's the corner of El Camino Real and Faraday. So I was on the opposite side of this intersection, and I'm assuming you guys can see my hand. I was going in this direction, so I was coming from the opposite side and turning right to go this way over here. And so I drifted across a couple turns. I was going pretty fast, made a lot of noise, and apparently the cop was probably hiding on the side street back here, and he must have heard me, seen me, you know, probably just bad timing for me. And I saw the lights coming around he was driving super fast to catch up with me. I think he actually burned out around the turn too to catch up with me with his lights on. So he pulls me over. I pull into a parking lot to make it safe for him and everything. And, you know, he proceeds to come over and ask for license, and he actually didn't ask for registration. He asked for license and insurance. So I go to grab my wallet, and my wallet's not in my pocket. And I'm like, oh man, this is going real bad. So I ask him politely. I say, I don't have any weapons. You know, here are my hands. But I do need to open the door because I think my wallet fell out of my pocket, and I think it's in behind my seat, if you don't mind me looking. And he said, sure, no problem. So I exited, and, you know, unfortunately my wallet's not there. This is literally the only time I've ever left my wallet at my office. So I left it on my desk at my office underneath like a stack of papers. I guess I was just in such a hurry to get home that I left my wallet there. It was so weird that it happened on the same day. So giving them bad news, I don't have my wallet. He asked for my insurance. I pull up my app on my phone, and my car's not showing up. My wife's car's there, my Z4M Coupe is there, but my GT3 RS is not on the list. And I'm like, oh, this is another problem. So I show him the insurance thing. He says, are you sure this car's insured? And I was like, yeah, man, I'm sure, I'm paying for it. And he's like, okay, well, how long have you had it? And I explained I just got it. It's not been very long. And he said, yeah, they probably just haven't updated their app or whatever. So he goes back to his computer to look me up in his system when I give him my name, and I think he scans my license plate and is able to do it that way. In the meantime, I'm fiddling with my phone in the car while he's doing all this stuff, and I end up finding that my car is in the app. I just had to like sign out and sign back in, and that updated it, and everything was good. So that was cool. He said he didn't care. He didn't need to see it anyway. And then he asked me questions like, is this the correct address, and all this other stuff that he pulled up in his computer. And I said yes. And then I asked him at one point, I said, hi, so if you don't mind, do you mind letting me know what I'm being pulled over for? And at that point he got pretty mad. I shouldn't say mad. He was a little bit maybe flustered or surprised in a bad way that I asked him that question. And he pretty much said like, are you kidding me? And I was like, well, I just was wondering, like, technically, like, what you call it, like, how do you describe the name of what you're writing me up for, type of thing. And he said, well, I saw you turn that corner back there, and the entire back end of your car slid through the whole turn, and you lost traction, and you continue to accelerate harder through the loss of traction, and you can't do that, so you illegally turn the corner or something of that nature. So I was like, okay, gotcha. And to me, and by the way, if this cop is watching, I hope he doesn't take any of this stuff the wrong way, because he was really a nice guy. But to me, I was almost asking that question more of like, how long were you following me? How many things are you writing me up for? How big is this ticket gonna be? Those are the things that were going through my head. You know, am I getting a reckless driving ticket? That's what was going through my head. So he answered that question. That was it. He just said that you basically made the turn basically unsafe. I'm sorry. He said unsafe turn. It was an unsafe turn because of the way I spun out or lost control. So a lot of time went by. He came back and forth. We talked. He was waiting for computers and people to get back to him. And long story short, guys, coolest cop in the world. He comes over to me. He says, "I'm writing you up for a citation for a warning, and I don't want to see you doing that again. There's a lot of people, you know, people around here, and there are rules of the road, and you have to abide by them, just like everyone else, basically." And you know, he actually mentioned, he said, "I've got a Daytona that I like to drive to, and yeah, it's really fun to lose the tires, but you got to be able to have some self-control. And I know your car's got a lot of torque, and sometimes controlling that is a little bit difficult, but you got to try a little bit harder." So he actually, you know what? Now that I'm paraphrasing, right, guys? I don't remember the exact words, but now that I think about it, he's actually super nice, and he basically said, like, he gave me an out, like maybe you did this by accident. Maybe you weren't really trying to drift around the turn. Maybe you're new with the car and you don't know how to control it. It's kind of like with great power comes great responsibility, right? Like, that's kind of how he played it off to me, and like that's why he's giving me the warning. I think he knew deep down, like, oh, you were just messing around and having fun, and I caught you. And he was really nice. I was very polite. I always am. No sir, yes sir. You know, like I said, show them your hands, make sure that they feel safe about everything, pull over in a safe spot. I did it as much as I could to try to make sure he felt safe and comfortable with the pullover event, and I think that did pay off in the end. It could also be that, you know, he lives in my city, and you know, I live there, and maybe he actually knew what kind of car it was, which I was pretty impressed with. So maybe he's just a big fan of the car, and he let me off for a number of reasons. My wife is not Caucasian, by the way, guys, and her first impression was like, oh, maybe it's because you're white. And I don't know. It's hard to say, right? She thought maybe he let me off because I'm a white guy. I think that's always a possibility. He was not a white guy, for the record, and that doesn't mean that he didn't let me off because I'm a white guy. You know, I try not to bring race into anything. To be honest with you guys, the deep down feeling I had was he's a car guy. He's a car guy. He knows I'm a car guy. He talked to me about cars a little bit as we're waiting, and I think that there was a little bit of a mutual respect there between him and me because of the car guy thing. And I honestly just think that's it. So I got really lucky. It's the third time I've gotten lucky with a pullover warning. Not in this car, but in my life, my career of driving. And he did give me a citation, basically. I don't have to pay anything. I don't have to show up for any court. It's just it's a warning. It's on paper. It's official. And man, oh man, did I get lucky. So I will be driving a little bit more carefully, especially in that area, until I don't know. Obviously, that things like this happen to you guys too, and it's one of those things where you, over time, your confidence about driving fast and not getting caught kind of just slowly goes back to where it was. And I'm sure that will happen eventually, maybe even soon. But I'm just kind of in that I got real lucky mode right now, so driving a little bit safer and slower, and kind of looking forward to getting an Evo still. If anyone has been watching any of my other videos, I had mentioned I'm selling my Z4M Coupe project car and going to get an Evo, and that's still in the works, but I have not sold the Z4M Coupe yet. Anyway, I'm gonna park here at work, guys, and one thing I do want to mention is I'm gonna put a picture on the screen here of the computer I'm working on, I have another, sorry, I'm backing up and trying to do two things at once, but I have another YouTube channel that's for my work. I own a computer business, and I'm working on a really crazy computer. So if any of you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, I do recommend you check out my other channel. I'll put a link to it in my description. And I'm, you know, as you can see in the picture, I'm working on a really crazy build. I think I'm gonna be done end of this week, have it up and running with all the water fluid, sorry, all the coolant in the system, start working on some overclocking and stuff like that. So anyway, thanks for sticking through for the story. I'd love to hear about your pullover experiences. If you guys got lucky or got screwed over, feel free to share. I have a couple other you know, pullover stories kind of like this, but in different cars, that I may share again in the future too. So let me know if you're interested in that. Anyway, guys, it was nice sticking around, and have a good day.